A Maine Coon cat was returned to the shelter 4 times. 4 families, 4 notes. All of them said the same thing. He stares. He watches. We can't sleep. On day 178, a woman walked in, heard the whole story, and said, "I'll take him anyway." And at 3:17 a.m. on a Thursday in February, that same cat did something that saved her life. There are cats that purr, cats that need blankets and chase string and knock things off counters for no reason except that they can. And then there is Oliver. Oliver is a gray-brown Maine Coon with green eyes the color of sea glass and an expression that has been described by 4 separate families as unsettling. He does not meow often. He does not knock things off counters. He does not chase string. He stares. Not the casual, half-interested stare of a cat watching a bird through a window, a full, unblinking, direct stare that lands on you like a question you don't know how to answer. Oliver looks at people the way a very old librarian looks at someone who has returned a book with the pages bent, patient, certain, and quietly disappointed. This is why he was returned 4 times. The first family kept him for 11 days. They said he made their evenings uncomfortable. The second family lasted 3 weeks before their youngest child refused to be in the same room as him. The third family returned him after 8 days with a note that said simply, "He watches us." The fourth family, a couple in their 30s who had specifically requested a low-maintenance cat, brought him back after 5 days and told the shelter coordinator, a woman named Patrice, that they couldn't sleep. "He sits at the end of the bed," the husband explained, "all night, just watching." Patrice had worked at Maplewood Cat Rescue for 11 years. She had seen a lot of cats returned for a lot of reasons: scratching, hissing, not getting along with other pets, allergies discovered after the fact. She had never had one returned 4 times for staring. Oliver had been at the shelter for 178 days when Claire Novak walked in on a Saturday afternoon in September. Claire was 32, recently moved to a new city for a job she wasn't sure about, living alone in a 2-bedroom apartment that echoed when she walked through it. She had told herself she was just looking. She had told herself that 3 times on the drive over. Patrice walked her through the cat room. Several cats approached. One climbed immediately onto Clay's shoulder. Another batted at her sleeve with convincing enthusiasm. Oliver sat at the back of his enclosure and stared at her. Claire stopped walking. "What's his story?" she asked. Patrice told her. All of it. The 4 families, the notes, the husband who couldn't sleep. She told her honestly because she had learned that honesty was the only thing that ever worked with the right person. Claire looked at Oliver. Oliver looked at Claire. "I'll take him," she said. Patrice blinked. "You don't want to spend a little more time?" "I'll take him." The first night, Oliver sat at the end of Claire's bed and stared at her for 40 minutes before she fell asleep. She lay there looking back at him, neither of them blinking particularly often, until something shifted and she closed her eyes and slept better than she had in 3 months. By the end of week 1, a routine had formed. Oliver followed Claire from room to room, not underfoot, never underfoot, always at a precise distance of approximately 4 feet, like a security detail that had decided proximity was professional but contact was optional. He sat beside her on the couch while she ate dinner. He positioned himself on the bathroom counter while she got ready in the mornings, watching her reflection in the mirror with the focused attention of a stylist who had opinions but had chosen to keep them to himself. He did not sit in her lap, he did not ask to be held, but he was always there. "I see you're still watching and still haven't subscribed. That honestly stings a little. Hit subscribe. You'll want to see what happens next." Claire worked from home 3 days a week. On those days, Oliver took up his position on the corner of her desk, not on the keyboard, never on the keyboard, which Claire privately found both respectful and slightly unnerving, and watched her work. When she was on calls, he watched the screen. When she read documents, he watched her face. Her coworker Sarah, during a video call, noticed Oliver in the background and laughed. "He's judging you," Sarah said. "He judges everyone," Claire said. "I've gotten used to it." She had. More than that, she had started to find it comforting. The particular quality of Oliver's attention, the way he tracked her movements through the apartment with his green eyes, had stopped feeling unsettling and started feeling like something else, like being known, like existing in a space where something had decided you were worth watching. On a Thursday in February at 3:17 a.m., Oliver woke Claire up. Not by staring, by standing on her chest, all 12 pounds of him, and making a sound she had never heard him make before. Low, urgent, nothing like his rare ordinary meow. More like a warning issued by something that had been patient for a long time and had finally decided patience was no longer the right tool. Claire was up in seconds. Oliver jumped off the bed and walked to the bedroom door, stopped, looked back at her. She followed him. He led her to the kitchen, stopped at the stove. The back left burner was on. Low flame, barely visible. A dish towel she had left too close to the edge earlier that evening had shifted. The corner was beginning to brown at the edges, seconds from catching. Claire turned off the burner, moved the towel, stood in her kitchen at 3:17 a.m., breathing carefully. Oliver sat beside her feet and looked up at her. She picked him up. He allowed it, still, quiet, warm, for exactly as long as she needed. She stood there in her kitchen in the dark, holding a 12-pound cat who had just saved her life, and didn't say anything. There was nothing to say. He already knew. He had known before she did, the way he always knew, the way he had always been watching for exactly this. The four families said he was broken. They said he was unsettling. They said they couldn't sleep with him watching. He was watching because that was his job. It had always been his job. He had just been waiting for the person who understood that. Today, Oliver is 3 years old. He still stares, he still follows Claire from room to room at a precise distance of 4 feet. He still sits on the corner of her desk on work-from-home days and watches her with the focused attention of someone who has decided this specific human is worth the effort. He never did learn to sit in laps, but every night, without fail, he sits at the end of Claire's bed until she falls asleep. And she always does. If you've ever had a cat that everyone else gave up on, drop their name in the comments and tell me, do you think Oliver was broken, or do you think the four families just weren't ready for him? I want to hear what you think.